my name is Garcia from La Villa Bonita Culinary Vacations, and one of the most popular breakfasts our guests like are chilaquiles. Let's go to my kitchen to make some. So to make good chilaquiles, there's 3 steps. 1, make really good totopos, which are basically corn chips. 2, make a really good salsa. And 3, put it all together with its toppings. And so to make totopos, which is the first part of it, there's a secret. And the little secret is that you want stale old tortillas. But not only that your tortillas are day old, and I have right here 2 pounds of store-bought tortillas just from the tortilleria here in Tepoztlan. And all I'm going to do is cut them first. And yes, they're not from today, so they're a little stale already. And so I like to cut them in triangles, but you can cut them in squares if that's what you like. I like to keep them a little big because if I have some extra tortillas or totopos, what I can do is use them for chips, okay? Okay, so I'm laying out the tortillas here. And basically what I want to do is so they're not, stacked up on top of each other, so I can put them out on the sun and dry them. So these ones right here on this side, I've already dried on the sun. If I don't have time to dry them on the sun because I want to use them the same day, I'll put them in an oven at 350 for about 15 minutes, and they will be rock hard, which is what not rock hard, but I want them really, really hard as you see here, okay? This is the secret to making good totopos. Why? Because if you have hard, dry tortillas, they will not absorb as much fat. So let's go now to fry the totopos, okay? So we're ready with our dry totopos from the sun and our very hot oil. And so what I'm going to do right now is just make sure that my oil is hot enough to make the totopos, okay? So I'm going to throw one in, and as soon as it starts bubbling, that tells me that the oil is hot enough. I use my cast iron to do this, but you can use any thick pan or bowl. And as you see, because these are really nice and dry, they're going to go super, super fast. So I'm just going to start pulling them out. Otherwise they're going to burn on me. I like my totopos nice and dry. And I'm sorry to keep calling them totopos. I know you guys know them as chips, but that's how I know them since I was a small kid. Now I usually add a little bit of sea salt on top if I'm going to use them for snacking. But if I'm going to use them for chilaquiles, I kind of just lay off the salt. So my chips are ready. I had to put them over here because my cameraman slash husband slash manager is eating them. So I gotta protect them. But now I'm gonna teach you how to make our salsas, and I'm gonna make 2 types of salsas. One is a green one, and the other one is a red one. So I have 2 pots here with just water. That's all it is. And to start with, I'm gonna cut for both salsas a 1/4 of an onion. And I'm just gonna peel off the ends, clean it up a little bit here. Okay, so we just need a 1/4 of an onion for both of them. So as you can see, this is really not very complicated, and I'm not really giving you a recipe, I'm really giving you more of a technique here. I forgot my trash bowl, but I will just put everything there on the side. I'm gonna put 1 garlic clove on each side too, for both my red and green salsa. So both of them have garlic too. And then for the green one, we're going to use tomatillos. And all I'm going to do is just take the husks of these tomatillos off. And so I was saying that the chilies I'm going to use for my green salsa are serranos. I love serranos. They're the chili I prefer because I think besides having spice, it's very flavorful. And so these are these really small serranos I have here. But I wanted to show you jalapenos because if you cannot find serranos at your supermarket, you can always substitute for jalapenos. Now, most people ask me, so 3 serranos for 1 jalapeno. I mean, there's really no real answer because each individual chili has its own spice, even as, you know, in between each jalapeno has its own spice, also each serrano has its own spice. So it all just turns out to be, you know, the luck of the draw, basically. So I more or less know sometimes just go for more and then start blending them as I go. And that way I can decide when I blend them, I taste it and I decide if I need more or less. So I usually, you know, cook a little more than what I think I might need, just in case they don't turn out to be spicy. In my house, even my kids like it kind of spicy. So chilaquiles that are not spicy for us are not really good chilaquiles. So we're gonna add in here some serranos, like I said, and I'm just taking the tails off. But if you do not like it spicy, you can use less or none at all. Or you can just take the ribs out of some jalapenos, or if you cannot find the serranos, just use jalapenos for the red ones. So for the red one, I also have onion, garlic, and then we're gonna do tomatoes, just like that. And then I'm gonna use these really nice guajillo chilies, and I'm gonna take off the seeds because these can be kind of tricky, and sometimes they turn out to be super, super, super hot. So, and I want to have a lot of these chilies in here because they give a lot of really nice flavor. And as you see, I'm just splitting them open with my hands, like that, taking off the veins and the seeds. But a lot of people do actually just throw them in completely so they can leave the seeds on. So I'm just trying to do this as fast as I can so we can take both of our pots to the flame and have them boil. So I have both pots here, the red and the green, and I've had them boiling for about 5-7 minutes. And all I'm waiting is for, in the case of the green one, to have these nice dull green tomatoes. And I'll show you I will show you right here. Okay, and I also want the chilies to get nice and dull. So the red salsa, the tomatoes have bursted and the chiles have softened, and also the onion and the garlic, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to turn off the flame on both my red and green salsa, and we're going to go to blend them right now. So we're gonna start blending our salsas, and as you can see, they're still hot, which is not really recommended to use to blend, but I'm gonna show you a trick to how to blend hot things in your blender without having a huge explosion, which I have my marks of mole on top of the ceiling. So I'm gonna start by adding just the ingredients in my green salsa, and I'm gonna leave behind some of my tomatillos, but I'm gonna not the tomatillos, some of the chilies, but I'm gonna make sure that I have all the onion and all the garlic and all the tomatillos, and the liquid here I'm gonna leave behind for now. So put it here, and then this is a wet rag. I'm gonna hold it really, really tight, and then I'm gonna pulse it. After I have it just kind of blended, then I'm gonna let it run for a little bit until it's nice and smooth, okay?
Como el cascabel, que ante nadie se rebaja, que ante nadie se rebaja. Yo soy como el cascabel. Si alguien te estrella mi piel, la anuncio con mi sonaja, la anuncio con mi sonaja, que mi mordedura es cruel. Si alguien te
So I'm gonna taste my salsa. See how spicy it is. It's nice and spicy. I ended up leaving 2 chilies behind here. I'm not gonna throw them away. I'm gonna put them away and then maybe make another salsa with them, or even add them to my red salsa if that needs a little heat. And then all I'm gonna do is pour it in here. I have some leftover liquid here. I think it's a little too much for what I need, so I'm gonna throw this one away, okay? Then I'm gonna do my red salsa. So all I'm gonna do is add all my tomatoes in here. Also, this water is hot, and I'm gonna also add on the chilies here, along with the onion and the garlic. In this case, because we took the seeds off the chilies, I'm not afraid of making it hot. It probably won't be hot, it'll just be flavorful. And I'm gonna leave the liquid behind because I don't want it to explode on me since it's hot. Once again, I'm gonna put the lid on, put my wet rag on top, and then pulse. And once it's kind of blended, I'll just let it go. So now that it's nicely blended, the red one, because we use guajillo chilies, in this case we are going to strain our salsa. And so I'm going to use some of this leftover liquid to just give my blender a little cleanup. And then add it into my salsa. Nothing wasted. And then all I'm going to do is hit it with the palm of my hand so all the salsa comes out. And then all the seeds and the skins of the tomato along with the skin of the guajillo are going to be left here.
Cascabelito sereno, cascabelito agitado, como quieres que yo ría si ya tu amor me has quitado.
Good, that's nice and dry, okay? So now that I have both my salsas here, I'm going to season them, or what I like to call frying them. So my oil of choice for this kind of technique is lard. I know a lot of people are afraid of it, but if you just use very little, you get a lot of flavor. It just has to be the real thing, it cannot be processed. So where I buy it is where they sell chicharrones. Okay, and almost all supermarkets in the US that are Mexican markets will have a section where they make chicharrones or carnitas, and that's where you can buy your lard. And so now that this oil is really, really hot, I'm gonna add my green salsa, and I know it's hot enough when it's splattered like this. So here we go with the green salsa. You just have to salt it now, and my salt of choice is sea salt. And then after we salt it, we're gonna add this beautiful herb that is called epazote. If you do not find epazote, don't worry about it, don't put it in. If you find dry epazote, just use like a little sprinkle of it, okay? But I'm gonna use a couple of sprigs of it and add it in here and let it boil. And now for the red salsa, it's the exact same thing. So I have some lard here. I'm gonna check it's really hot. It is. And now I'm gonna fry it, okay? For the red one, all I'm gonna do is add some salt. I am not going to add any epazote to this one and let it come to a boil. So I'm gonna cover it so it can come to a boil faster. Meanwhile, we're gonna finish our green chilaquiles. So my green salsa is ready. I'm just gonna taste it and make sure it has enough salt. Yes, it does. And now all I'm gonna do is add some of my chips in here. So for chilaquiles, you can either do them like I'm doing right now, which is to put them in a boiling pot, and just make sure that you have plenty of salsa in there. And let the chips boil in there and get a little softened. Or you can put it in a casserole and stick it in the oven, and that way you can serve it for a brunch. Okay, you would have made your salsa and your chips a day ahead and then just put them together the day out. So let them get a little soft. Okay, and then how's this doing? This one's starting to boil. Okay, so for the red salsa, same thing. I just had it boil for about 5 minutes. Taste it. I think it needs just a little bit more salt. And then I'm gonna add some of this chips that I have here and let it come to a boil. Now, for the red salsa, I would like it to boil a little longer. The longer it boils, the better you'll taste. But it is also a good quick one. It won't be bad at all. It will be very good. I'm just gonna let it come to a boil and let it boil for a little bit. Meanwhile, I'm gonna start bringing everything so we can set it together for plating. So I got both chilaquiles here, and all I'm gonna do is plate them. So first I'm gonna start with the green ones, and I like to put them in the center. And how my grandma used to make them is we always leave the epazote in, and I do like to get a little bit of it while I'm eating it, but my dad doesn't like it. So for him, I would take it out. For me, I just leave it in. And now all I'm gonna do is put some big glob of crema mexicana, and then some queso fresco on top, and this is a panela, but you can use any cheese you want. And I love raw onions, so I'll sprinkle a little bit of raw onions, but you don't have to put the raw onions. And then for the red one, exact same thing. We're just going to put some of it here, and then add the cream and the cheese. Now for brunch, you could always put shredded chicken on it. You could always do a fried egg on top. You can also do some chorizo. So a big lump of cream. Put a bit of cheese on top. And then some raw onion. Now I hope you really enjoy these chilaquiles for one of your breakfasts, just like we do here at La Villa Bonita Culinary Vacations.